Old style PKing. This has been something, well, I just really recently thought about this idea, but I think a lot of you people out here can relate to it, because I know I have a lot of people subscribe to me right now that are longtime RuneScape players, and really know what it's like to play before, pre-Grand. I'm not talking about you start playing a year before the Grand Exchange comes out now. I'm talking about you started playing, you started leveling, you were at least 100 combat by the time Grand Exchange came out. Like, you actually played. You actually had to level up all your shit, make all your own money through the forums. You know, like, this is how it was. Okay? I don't know why I'm talking about, like, the economy and what you did back then, but that, like, this is, imagine yourself in this time frame. If you're used to it, then it should be no problem. If you ever played through that time, it should be no problem. But for those of you who just recently started playing in these last 2 years or so, then you're probably not going to know what I'm talking about. But okay, you know how nowadays you have, if you see someone with a whip in PvP, it's basically like, oh, I have a god sword, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and down him real quick. Yeah. It would never be like that. Before, when whips first came out, I remember when whips first came out. I forget, I don't remember if it was when Slayer first came out or if Abyssal Demons came out afterwards. Not really too sure on that, but I do remember when whips first came out. They were the shit in PvP. Whips were like the claws of today. If you saw someone with a whip and you had a D-skimmy, you basically do the same thing if you had a whip and someone else had like a god sword or something like that. You know, you'd probably fight, but you have that idea in the back of your mind that you were about to die. And imagine PKing not being about how fast you can move your hands and how, push fancy fucking, well, I just pushed the pause button on my hypercam, that's not cool. Push your fancy fucking, keys to switch back to your inventory, back to your, spec, whatever. Used to be, you click, because at the time, it didn't matter if you missed a hit. In the end, it all came down to who was the better player. Not even that, who got the luckiest hits in, who got the most hits in, and basically, it didn't matter what weapon you had. A person with a D-skimmy could beat someone with a whip, hands down. I mean, if someone, say someone with a D-skimmy had a superset. Supersets were like the overloads of back then. Before extremes, before everything, superset was the way to go. People would buy them for like 10k each in World 2 Valley, and that's how people PK'd. Say someone with a D-skimmy had a superset. Say someone with a whip didn't. Person with D-skimmy would win. If they were both the same stats anyways. But nowadays, it really doesn't matter how much, like, what kind of skill you have, what kind of, well, actually, today, it all really falls under your own personal skill to move your mouse and eat as fast as fuck. Back then, fights rarely didn't end in KOs. I didn't PK for that long back then before they removed the wilderness, but I PK'd enough to know that fights never really came down to someone getting KO'd. Fights always came down to someone eating all their food, whoever ran out of food first, just out of respect for one another, knowing that the other person would do the same thing. You would just die, and you would lose your gear. You'd have protect from item on. You would keep your whip or whatever, whatever it was, usually your weapon, whatever your weapon was. And you would just, if you, oh no, are you fucking kidding me? Oh, okay, I just had a major lag attack. But you'd keep your whip, you lose 200k, no big deal. But now, I mean, it's basically mandatory that if someone dies, you say, oh, I respect you for dying. because every fucking buddy else 2 years ago would have did the exact same thing just out of common courtesy for one another. I mean, it shouldn't really be about that anymore. It's the whole RuneScape community, okay? Everyone's just an asshole now. I mean, I could honestly say that I'm a generally nice person on RuneScape. Like, this kid right here, Wolf FX. I don't know if you, oh no, you can't see it, but he's on my friends list. I recently added him. I showed him, he said he had like 120 some K bank. I showed him to pick flags down there. He was woodcutting with me. I showed him where to pick flags. He said, holy shit, this is amazing money. I bought it for max and trade. I bought 400 flags for 50K. And he was flipping shit because, you know, I mean, back when I first started, that was no big deal. People would help you out. People, you know, I mean, obviously you'd have some people who, you know, were too busy or whatever, but they always had a reason. If someone ever needed help back then, usually it wouldn't take too long to find someone to help you. But now, I mean, people are always doing their own shit. They can never take out a couple minutes to help someone. Honestly, right now, I could give this kid fucking like 20 mil, and it wouldn't really affect me all that much. I wouldn't do it, but I could. I definitely wouldn't do it, but I could. It'd probably make his fucking day, though. Yeah, but yes, old style PKing was a way to transfer money and whatnot, but it was also a much, much funner PvP system. So people now, they make, you know, I didn't even find out that you could make a pier until, balls. Fuck. God damn it. Not this one. Fucking A. Why you? Why the one that takes like 20 goddamn minutes? Why? Alright, so basically, I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard my piece, but okay, this is a little scenario that I want to put you guys through. Imagine this. If you were a after hearing what I just said, if you were a PKer back then, and you were to just log in to having everything just being completely just not the same, like, you're in Edgeville, say you're in Edgeville. You log in, you run up to the wilderness ditch, cross the ditch, and you can't attack people. You know, I didn't really read the updates back then, you know, a few years ago. If that were to happen to me, and then to later find out that it was replaced with Bounty Hunter, and even that, like, if I were to log in today, or no, let me rephrase that. If I were a PKer back then, and I were to log into the PvP system we have today, I wouldn't hesitate about quitting RuneScape. I mean, if I was a hardcore, full-blown, you know, that's all I play RuneScape to do is PK, I wouldn't hesitate at all about PKing. I mean, the PvP system we have now, the PvP Worlds, is, I will admit, it's huge step up from old shitty Bounty Hunter, but it's still not old PKing. True, you can make a lot more money now, but also true, it doesn't really fall under who's the better, you know, who's the better player. It falls under how much money you have, how much time you have to make a whole shitload of fucking money, and if you can sell your whole bank to buy one item. You know, think about that. I mean, there's people who rush with Barrage full melee void claws, and they spend all their money on 94 mage and claws, and then what? What if they die with them? They fucking quit. There was no rushing back then. There was DDS rushing, but DDS rushing wasn't as fucking like 1/10 as efficient as claw rushing. But anyways, I'm sorry if this video may have seemed just like a little repetitive, but I'm really tired. I've had a long ass week. This is the first night I've actually had to just take it easy in a while. You could probably tell my voice is raspy as fuck, but for right now, I'm off. It's been Megabillybob, And if you agree with anything I said, please comment on this video or rate this video, anything. I really do want to start getting these videos out there just to start showing lower level players what it was like. Or, you know, I could never show them what it was like, but trying to explain the best I can to tell them what it was like when I first started playing RS. And I know I might be getting a little bit too deep into this, but I really can't explain how much of a better, more fun, addicting game it was back then than it is now. So if you're hooked on this game now, you'd be fucking like probably dead from sleep deprivation by now. Bad analogy, but it probably works. So yeah, Megabillybob signing off. Peace.